Okay, here we go. We have a Carter AFB. They run these things on Pontiacs from the 50s up to the middle of the 60s. The only thing that I've ever seen different, some of them have this fitting right here. Some of them had a little bitty one right there with a brass fitting. These here had a big nipple sticking out with a filter in it. Other than that, they're all the same. They got this one thing for your distributor or whatever. They got that hot air adjustment. They got one little place in the back for a vacuum line. They all had these heat chokes, which in my opinion never did work right. So you're on your own if you buy that. We like to convert them over to electric, but when you get it, it's going to be turned off, just like that. So you're going to have to figure out how much heat you got. You connect to this pipe and then figure out when it gets 45 degrees to turn it on. We've already preset the mixture screws. We've checked it all around the base for leaks. Now listen real careful. Warning, never put carburetor spray, starting fluid, diesel starting fluid, propane or carburetor cleaner in or around any carburetor. Not only this one, because first of all, it's highly explosive and it'll ruin the engine. If it gets in there, it can cause you to burn a piston or blow the head off of it. Second of all, it eats the finish off a carburetor. It's really, you don't gain anything. If you want to prime a carburetor, you get your oil can like this, you squirt a little oil. Or if you're really fancy, you can get one like this that shoots a little thing out here like that. And you can squirt it around there and check for leaks. Now, they will have a slight leaks around these shafts. You will probably not be able to detect it unless you've got a computer like this that'll measure like 1/2 of a particle to air to 1/2 of a particle to fuel. Unless you got something to measure something like that, you ain't never going to be able to tell. Okay, we want an air-fuel ratio about 12.5 to 1 at idle. Then we want about 3 pounds of fuel pressure on the fuel line right down here. Boing, boing. And now you can either get it with a regulator or get a good fuel pump. That's all it's got. Your manual fuel pump's going to have 7, 8, up to 12 pounds. No good. You want your timing when you start your motor up. You want to have it 30 degrees. Everything full advance. All the vacuum lines hooked up. 30 degrees at 3,000 RPM. And we're going to fire it up here and we're going to show you. Well, we got this thing here setting at about 800 RPM, somewhere thereabouts. We got it. We got this computer, and it's going to come up here, and it's going to stop about 12 when the light stops blinking. I like the blinking lights. I like Christmas, and they sure ain't hot weather. I mean, hot weather out there now. It sure ain't Christmas. Yeah, there it is. Now you watch. I'm gonna shoot a little bit just around. See there? I don't even move that thing, but yet I know there's a manufactured air leak there on purpose. Now when you shoot them down inside, whoa! You see what it does? It's regular old gas. So everything's within tolerance. We used to get a lot of guys imagine that the carburetor was wore out because these shafts are loose. These shafts will wiggle back and forth and they're still not wore out. You need about 7 thousandths run out on a line like that. Okay, we're going to rev it up. You notice that the more you rev it up, the thinner the mixture gets. That's the way a good carburetor should be. So that the faster you get it going up there, till it gets about 14 pounds, 14 parts of air to 1 part of gas. That's atmospheric pressure. That's about all you want. And once it's overcome inertia, it'll start doing that. Now boats and marine engines and tractors and stuff won't do that. They're not designed for it. They're not designed. I was checking my power valves to make sure that they're spring loaded are working good. But all good running carburetors since about the late 60s, they started becoming conscious of gasoline and consuming gas, conserving gas. That's what they did. Anyway, there you go. She's got it's got the electronically applied. This is a powder coated electronic applied finish. Well, this stuff's quite durable. You could chip it off with the paint, but it's pretty durable. Of course, carburetor cleaner eat it off. It'll eat anything off. We replaced all the screws in this thing. It's just nice looking unit. Pontiac. Now you notice Pontiac doesn't have any numbers. You know why? Because Pontiac was involved in racing, and they didn't want the insurance companies to know how big and bad these carburetors was, so they wanted them so you couldn't track them. They couldn't see how big a CFM they were because they made different ones. And this way here they fooled the insurance companies to get lower insurance rates because car insurance was rated by horsepower. So that's why for about 10 years you don't see hardly any. They had some tags on them, but 90% of them are lost.